I'm Daniel Ufomadu, so Daniel on the TV, so a football analyst and then, football pundit, administrator of football. So meet Mr. Kennedy
Onwunali.
Onwunali. So these are a journalist, a football pundit, and a manager in football. So please, can you introduce yourself a little bit?
Thank you, Mr. Ufomadu. I'm Kennedy Onwunali, a retired footballer, and our former media officer of Heartland Queens, immediate media officer of the Southeast Women Football, and currently, I am the local government administrator of football in Abombisi.
Okay, so being a football administrator, being a player, so what can you tell us about a little bit? I just want to know, like what you have impacted in Mbise, especially for the young ones who aspire to become a professional.
Yeah, here in Mbise, I've done my little bit to ensure that football is, image of football is preserved here. Don't forget, we are in a community where we produce 2 players for the national team. Talking about the former Director General National Sports Commission, Dr. Patrick Kekeji, who later coached Nigeria, and Sierra Leone, and Che, the one who happened to be my own direct uncle. They are both from this community. We're a catchment area, the likes of Mbise, Collins Waneri, and other great players, Ishola, Nwachukwu, they all migrated from here. I'm not forgetting Mr. Jude Dimegu, popularly known as Military, of the former Trojan that later metamorphosed into Spartans, now Iwanya National, now Heartland FC. These are great footballers that came up from here, and that's the legacy. And what I needed to do in my own community first, they said charity starts at home, that begins at home. So I started from my own immediate abode, where I was able first of all to work on one thing, which is the disciplinary aspect of football. Those days before I came back from Lagos, you see people putting on anything they like to come into the field of play. But when I came back, I said no. And I worked seriously to achieve that. When I see players today dressed beautifully, and I'm like, oh wow, everybody's admiring it. They never knew that there was somebody who was ready to fight with anybody. Tell you, so if you get Agidi, me too, I get Agidi. You must dress very well as a footballer before you come into the field of play. I was able to do that and also inspire a lot of young ones to move to the next level here. Yes, and as the administrator here, I've also been able to advise teams like the team that won the state league 2 years ago. From Mbise here. Yes, talking about Platinum FC. The team here, when I met the chairman of the club, he told me his plan. I said, no, that plan is not going to work. Instead of going for the FA Cup, because you're a very young team, why not go for the league? You build your team the next year, you now move to the next level. And that he did. And before you know it, they won the league. So it was like, wow, if I had not met you, this team, yes, it would have been where they are today. Yeah, they are in the NNL, in the lower league, NLO. But then the good thing about it is that they were able to get the right counsel at the right time. If not, they would have played the FA Cup and fizzled away, like other things I've done. So, but last year, I started a program that is called Mbise National Football League. Wow, that will surprise you. Yes, we are communities. Yes. The teams that are based here in Mbise, we are playing home and away. And finally, the other competition was won by Platinum FC. They were presented with the trophy at the last Irigin Mbise tournament, and we are in for the next edition. That's what we are planning now, and I believe by the time we put everything in place with partners, we have a great soccer fiesta come next season.
Okay, I want to ask you something, especially when you mentioned about Mbise, some youth tournament, state league teams. Then, among those players, how many of them have maybe played up to going to play in the Nigerian NPFL?
What we are doing here is that we are trying to see how we can boost their morale, let them understand that there is season and time for everything, especially football. And yes, we've had little impact with players moving to the NLO from there to the NNL. But there are others who are also playing in the main league. Most of them, not that they grew from here, but from my inspiration, meeting them out there, I've always counseled them on what to do. Take your career serious, do this, do that, avoid this, avoid that, and some of them have taken it to the next level. Yes.
Okay, and now we want to shift attention. Now you have explained, and the viewers across Nigeria or anywhere they're coming across this video will be able to understand who you are in the sports circle, especially in Imo State and also around Nigeria. So now I want to ask you, because you watched the last game between Nigerian Super Falcons and the Le Blues of France, which ended 2-1. What can you say about this Magudi team? Despite losing to France in that international friendly, you could remember they played against Algeria. They won in Remo in Ogun State. So just a month ago, they played that from Nigeria. And also beating Algeria in the second leg. It was two international friendly game between the two nations, Nigeria Super Falcons and Algeria. So now, how do you look at the team? We are 11th-time champion, of the African Women Nations Cup. So do you see this team after the debacle in France in the Paris Olympic 2024, which they lost all the whole game against Brazil, Japan, and also against Spain? So do you think this team can go all the way to Morocco to win the laurel, the gold, the Nations Cup?
Yeah, from what you see now, you discover that we are rebuilding the team. Yeah, having gone through a lot of processes, at the past, I am one of those who believe that the best thing for you to do is to have a long-time program. Be futuristic about what you want to do. You don't just like all of a sudden you want to start. Yes, we lost all our games at the Olympic, and we are now rebuilding. Yes, with a couple of players that I've seen in the team, but then something is still need to be done. I've continued to say this: when the players are very young, plug them into the system. Just like Coach Ikeria Uche did with Ashat Oshola. Ashat Oshola was brought into the national team at the age of 16, and we've just finished the Junior World Cup. We saw some players who sparkle at that, Flamingo team. What stops us from plugging one or two into the team? The likes of SN and the likes of Harmony into this team, and see how they understood the old players, yes. The impact they understood. We'll understudy these old players. I thought we would have done that with this friendlies. That would have been perfect. So yeah, but talking about the game that we saw 3 days ago, it was a perfect game. It was a game that every coach would always learn from. We saw our team coming from behind, playing from behind, okay, putting passes together from behind, quite unlike before. Yes, it's a new system to the girls. They tried their best, scored a beautiful goal from such a play. Yes, if Onimon's goal was phenomenal. Okay, the way it came, the touches from behind, and finally ended on that goal. And that shows that, look, we are now in a new era. We have a new gaffer, we have a new sheriff in town, and he's out there with a new plan. And I think what he needs is our support. We all need to support him, and especially the female football stakeholders. A lot of criticism here and there, that will not solve anything. What we need to do is to support, and at the end of the day, I believe they have what it takes to take the Super Falcon to the next level.
And I want to ask you this, being a football expert, if you watch the Super Falcons, in this last friendly, especially the one they played against Algeria, it's more or less the home-based players, Edo Queens, Nasarawa Zone players, most of them. Now, some of them are not in the team. They brought those who have been playing before. What do you think is going to happen for this Nations Cup, the OCON coming up next year by July? So do you think the coach should look the direction of some home base to couple with some foreign players? Because if you watch at the last tournament in the Olympic, apart from the World Cup in Australia and New Zealand, where we've been eliminated, in the round of 16, the English team beat us. So, this team, for me, my own point of view, I don't know what you want to inject, to put into this discussion for the Super Falcons coach to be aware. Do you think some of them still deserve, after in Morocco 2022, we lost, that's in the we played to semi-final. So do you think some of them deserve to be in this team for the next Nations Cup coming up?
Yeah, for the next Nations Cup, if you look at this team, we had 4 home-based players in the team, and we scored for the first time against France. And you take a look at the way the team is. The Nations Cup is some, months away from now. I don't think it's going to be a good one to, inject all new players into the team. It's a gradual process. Plug in some new players into the team. Like we've seen 4 home-based players. So there are still other players who are out there that needs to be invited into the team. All you need to do from time to time, look at various positions. Where do I bring this person in? Where do I bring this person in? Who comes in as a standby so as to understudy the already established players? I think that's what the coach should start doing now, and not necessarily rely on everybody that was in the team before. But if that person deserves to be invited to the national team, what stops that person from coming to the national team? So for my own, let it be a gradual process.
Okay, to impasse, to bring in some players.
Yes.
Okay, and the final note, we want to talk about your magazine, your sport. We have Waka Now, and we have Sliver. So I think viewers should look at this. This is a sport journal, Sliver News.
Yeah.
So in Mbise, you can just explain to us.
No. This what you see as Silver News and Waka Sports. Silver News is the social aspect of the newspaper. While Waka Sports is the one that comes with various sporting stories all around us. It all started years ago, and I always pride myself. I said, the likes of Kelechi Iheanacho, Onwunali. I came back home here and I saw that the sportsmen and women here are not well represented. They're not, So I started off. I will surprise you. I started off this project with 500 naira some 16 years back.
Wow.
Printing on hardcore paper just like this.
Wow.
Okay. Yes, and then going to where there are football tournaments, to beg people to buy, and somehow, thank God today, we are into a full-fledged newspaper. And not only do we have our newspaper, Silver News for social events, and Waka Sports for sports stories, we also still have what we call Waka Sports Extra. It's a platform that contains every sports personality around the country, and I tell you, it's awesome. It's awesome. Yes, and we also have what we call Silver News Online. That is, Silver News Online covers a lot. And I tell you, that is www.silvernews.co.ng. That's where we pass every information that we need to pass to ensure that we help in the growth of sports and our community.
Okay, numerous fans around Nigeria and beyond. You can just you look at this Silver News, so you just try to go online, and maybe I think you have to supply so many states. I think.
Yes.
This is a good magazine. I've gone through it. I think for sport news and other news. So this is the editor. I think.
The publisher.
The publisher.
Yes.
So that just it. And then it's nice talking to you, Mr. Kennedy.
It's a pleasure having you, Mr. Ufomadu.
So I'm very, very grateful to meet you once again.
You're welcome.
So that's it now on the World of Sports. So we'll update you more. I still remain your sport, Daniel Ufomadu.